Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the December 14th meeting of the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission. This evening, we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and Madam Clerk, if you can please indicate we have 100% attendance this evening. Thank you very much. And first order of business then will be the approval of the minutes. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Got a motion and a second from Keith. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Old business, I show no old business on the agenda. Any old business from the commission? Perfect. Moving on to new business. First piece of new business is going to be opening a public hearing regarding the adoption of Resolution 2020-07, which was adopted on November 9th, 2020. So the public hearing is officially opened. If you have any comments, please feel free to come to the podium. And with that, Rob, do you think we've fulfilled?
Yep.
Seeing no motion to the podium, I will close the public hearing, and we would move on to letter B, which is the resolution number 2020-08, a confirming resolution to resolution number 2020-07. And Rob?
Commission members, this resolution 2020-08, again, confirms resolution 2020-07 that was adopted by this commission on November 9th, 2020 for the Waterford Single-Family Housing Economic Development Area. Again, the declaratory resolution designated the area as the allocation area. The Lebanon Plan Commission, as a reminder, on November 16th of 2020 approved and adopted the Plan Commission order that determined the declaratory resolution and the plan conformed to the plan of the development for the city and approved the declaratory resolution and the plan. This city's Common Council on November 23rd, 2020 adopted a resolution which approved the declaratory resolution, the Plan Commission order, and the creation of the area. And the Board of School Trustees of the Lebanon Community School Corporation on November 17th approved the housing program as set forth in the declaratory resolution. This commission is caused to be published a notice of a public hearing, which we just had. It's also filed with each taxing unit within the allocation area, copy and notice of the public hearing. And whereas after consideration of the evidence presented at the public hearing, the commission hereby confirms the findings and determinations, the designations, and approving and adopting actions contained in the declaratory resolution, including without limitation the housing program. After considering the evidence presented at the public hearing, the commission hereby finds and determines that it will be a public utility and a benefit to proceed with the housing program and the proposed projects set forth in the plan, and the housing program and the plan are hereby approved in all respects. The declaratory resolution is confirmed in all respects, and this resolution constitutes final action pursuant to the Act by the Commission determining the public utility and benefit of the proposed projects and confirming the declaratory resolution pertaining to the area. The Secretary of the Commission is directed to record the final action taken by the Commission pursuant to the requirements of the Act, and this resolution shall be effective immediately upon the adoption by the Commission.
Thank you very much, Rob. Any questions from the commission? Any comments from the public or developer?
I promise, Mr. Robertson, I will be very brief. Make that 15-minute time period. I'm Steve Hankey with Hankey Development, and I just want to thank everybody for all the time, effort, and everything everyone's put in and to meet schedules and deadlines, and the school corporation also been great to work with. The city has, everyone has, and we really look forward to bringing this really upscale lifestyle community to Lebanon. I just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comment from the public? Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion regarding Resolution 2020-08.
I move we accept resolution number 2020-0-8 as presented.
All right, we have a motion. And a second from Mr. Robertson. All those in favor, motion with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. That's a very exciting movement for the city. We heard earlier this evening from the Board of Works that we're nearing the end of our new housing inventory. So you couple that with the end of our commercial land, it's a pretty big move for the city, getting both of those. So thank you very much for your commitment to the city of Lebanon. Very exciting.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. On to the last order of business here is the Facade grant update. And I think we have Mr. Derek Warren with us this evening to discuss the Facade grant as it exists today.
Sure. Good evening, Commission. Thank you, Corey. Yes, last month when I was here, we had an applicant that was awarded grant dollars to improve a building. And I kind of threw in at the last minute that we had a balance from 2020 that I was hoping to carry over to 2021, which isn't something that we haven't done in the past. We actually did that in 2018, the first year of the program. There was a balance left over, and we did carry that over to 2019. And in 2019, we burned through the $250,000 available for that year, plus the balance that we carried over from 2018. So the way some of these projects, come to light, it takes a lot of time for some of these to develop. And there are several in the pipeline right now that have taken a lot of time that I certainly anticipate coming in 2021. And should have a very similar scenario that we did in 2019, where we burn through the $250,000 set aside for this year and have the opportunity to burn through the remaining balance of 2020. Remarkably, even with the world pandemic that we've all been living through and the challenges, things have been happening downtown, and we've had several applicants. So the number we have left for 2020 is $32,935.05 left over from the original $250 that we started with at the beginning of the year. So I would request that you consider carrying that $32,000 and change balance over to 2020-21 to make the available 2021 money $282,935.05.
All righty. Thank you, Derek. Commission, any comments regarding the Facade program, the request specifically?
I got one question. It may be two questions. I have no problem carrying this over, okay, whatsoever. I'm okay with that. I guess my question is, have we in the past, or those members that have been on this board for a long time, I'm going to say at the end of the year, do you approve what's going to be spent in that fund next year? Or is it just, this is what it is every year, we're going to?
You already did approve $250,000 per year.
Per year, and, okay, whatever,
I
okay.
don't- How many years?
For a 5-year span.
5 years.
Yeah, it was the first
So
5
it's-
years.
For 5 years? Okay, and we're in what year now?
We just finished year 3.
Oh, okay, all right, okay,
So yeah, that motion was made
okay,
2 or 3 years ago.
okay. Then I'll make a motion that we,
I assume we're within our legal, Rob, to carry money over like that. I mean, I support it. I just want to make sure we're legally within allowances.
Yeah, we're comfortable with that. I know as Derek and the mayor and some of us have been talking about looking at this entire program, going forward, but we're comfortable with the action.
Thank you.
Any other
then I'll
questions,
make a motion
comments?
that we carry over the $32,935 plus a nickel from 2020 over to the 2021 fund.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the request to pull forward the $32,935.05. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. All righty, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
And I
Derek,
have,
thank you as well.
A couple more comments to make, if I could be afforded the time.
Please do.
I'll make it brief. Over the past several meetings, I continue to hear questions of property owners and how much they are contributing to the program in terms of the grant scale. And I've really been thinking hard on how to relay to everyone what the investment really looks like, how to visually do that, and how to also do that on paper. So I can't take credit for this, but to visually give you an idea of what we have going on in many of these cases, I want to show you this picture. Everybody knows what this is, right? You got an iceberg floating out there in the middle of the ocean, and you see this massive peak on top of it. But what you don't see is all the hard work and everything below going on with this iceberg showing it floating. So in your packet tonight, I believe you got some letters of support from previous grant recipients. I just want to go over those real quickly, just to kind of illustrate what we actually have going on in many of these cases. Not all of the cases, but many of them. And I want to start with 127 and 129 North Meridian Street. It received a grant, the max grant, for $200,000. And some of you around during that application, and some of you weren't, but to give you an idea of that particular property, what we have going on was a investment of $663,500 just for upper floor finish, upper windows, and both storefronts. Did not include the purchase price of that property and does not include the first floor build out. Purchase of the property was $220,000, so already we're getting pretty close to $900,000, and again, they haven't even touched the first floor space. And we granted them $200,000.
That's the one there on the corner?
That is the one on the corner. That's been our one and only so far max grant applicant. I'm working with another one currently that will be in that range, coming to you in 2021. But a couple of the other ones, I want to share some interesting. I know you have these letters of support, but I want to share some interesting statistics that I thought was useful in these letters. The Schomburg's property at West Washington and North Street. They were awarded roughly between the two buildings. They're remodeling the old frame shop and the old dry cleaners, $67,000. And in that $67,000, let's see, they were responsible for about $36,000. But their total investment for the structural cost alone for the two buildings, things that didn't even qualify, things we didn't even bring to you to show you, is $380,000. That's just for the construction cost. Again, doesn't include the purchase of the properties. By the time they outfit their buildings, they'll be closer to $850,000 to operate this business in our downtown. So they're making a huge investment to be here. And again, we've awarded them $67,000. They far have more money into this project than we do. The Chop House is another interesting case. The current owner purchased the building for $485,000. Just to even turn the lights on to make it showable to anyone who was interested in leasing it was $13,000 right off the bat. The next phase of the building renovation are things that don't qualify for any grant assistance. They're talking about finishing the second floor to make it usable space. They're going to be somewhere in the $125,000 range just for that alone. They were more or less awarded a 50-50 grant of about $40,000 they're responsible for, and $40,000 we chipped in on. The tenant of that space, 1830 Chop House, I know, again, you have this, but it's interesting to see their comments that they have outside of, the investments that they have made in properties that they're at. Just to outfit them alone, they've invested $300,000. When you start talking about Backroads Barbecue and the Chop House, and I know Backroads is not in our district, but it's the same owner. And with that $300,000 investment to open restaurants in our community, they've also created 40 jobs in Lebanon, which is huge. And this grant program has a massive impact on that. The Chop House, the idea of the Chop House, straight from Chris Canal and his partner, Joe Stein, is to create and draw people to Lebanon as a destination for dining. And that was all made possible by having a building that was and going to be in great shape. And that's something that we're seeing tenants starting to look for. If you notice, these days, the building owners that don't invest any amount of money into their buildings, those buildings are starting to go vacant. Today's tenant is looking for a usable space that they can move into that's attractive on the outside as well. More and more, we are seeing those spaces start to be occupied. You don't have to look very far, and you start to see the other ones become vacant again. So you have, the shining example that we've always used is the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl sat vacant for about a week. After they closed, Greeks moved in. We'll call it Bijou, because Bijou did the work on the building the Chop House has moved into. Chop House moved into it because it was relatively an attractive building. Up close, it needs some work, and that's why they came in for the grant. But it'll look back the way it was because of that, and that's what they want. They want something that's attractive. So maybe one day, if we leave this grant program in place as it was intended to be for the next 5 years, you'll start to see more progress, and you'll maybe start to see these property owners who aren't investing a dime into their properties currently look around and say, you know what, I need to take advantage of this opportunity that's available to me. And maybe they will apply and start to fix up their buildings as well. So that's why I urge you to leave it in place as it is now. It's only been around for 3 years. The original intent was for 5 years. Honestly, I don't think 5 years is long enough. I think it's more of a 10-year project that needs to happen. In 3 years, we've seen a tremendous amount of investment, and it's just now starting to show those returns. So it takes time, and I know you all know that. But outside the letters of support you were even given, Mark Sullivan at 101 West Main Street, they've received roughly $50,000 in grant money, but they are currently remodeling the storefront space all on their own dime. They found problem after problem in that building. They've remodeled one of the apartments upstairs. None of that qualified for grant dollars. I don't have numbers from everybody, but
Is that the old Adler building?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you if is somebody living upstairs there yet?
Mark Sullivan, the owner, is living
the owner
there.
is? Okay.
And it is he'd be happy to show it off. I get invited to go see it often. And their space that they're living in is Chicago loft style space. They have done a very, very good job with it. And they're doing the other side in the same fashion, trying to get that first floor ready for remodel. Again, dollars and cents they're spending out of their own pocket that you don't even see. You don't see the underside of this iceberg that they're dealing with. And they're doing it all on their own dime, all on their own labor expenses as well. So it's taking some time because it takes a tremendous amount of money. The Jackson example is a good example of that. They wrote checks for everything. And they wrote a check for $1 million to make it usable, again, not even including the first floor space. So these people should be applauded. They should continue to get support from the city for making investments into our downtown, which we're all focusing on. Even the Cowans of the world, they've owned that building for 50 years, but they've put far more money into it over that 50 years to keep it up standing and keep it usable than what we've granted them and what the match shows. So the match is misleading when you start looking at it. You start looking at my presentation because I'm only showing you the numbers that qualify for the grant application. I think we have fixed some of the scale issues with the roof. I think we were, including the roof in the original scale, and some people were getting roof for practically nothing. But now that we've backed that off to 30%, I think that's a good fix. With that fix in place, I would encourage you to at least entertain the idea of keeping it in place for the full 5 years that the 2018 resolution adopted for, and if not, consider extending it as we move forward towards that expiration date. So that's all I have. Very passionate about the program. I see the changes that it's making in our community. If you have any questions now or even offline, please reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to talk to any of you individually as well.
Thank
That's
you,
all I have.
Derek. And I think one of the things that a lot of folks kind of take for granted is we're in a very unique situation. You know, the city of Lebanon has a very unique downtown with some very, very old buildings. You know, there's cities that are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to build what we already have there. You know, you look at your Brownsburgs, you look at your Westfields, they're literally building a downtown. And we already have that there. This is an investment to keep those old buildings there rather than having to tear them down like the old Ward's building. You know, that one was too far gone. We couldn't save it. This program is one that keeps us in a position where it makes sense to save those buildings. And that's what we truly want, is we have to have a mix of the brand new, really cool looking stuff, but that old building style can't be beat. You just can't find it in a lot of places. And that's unique to Lebanon. So thank you very much, Derek, for your passion. I certainly enjoy it, so.
Well, thank you for entertaining my soapbox. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're over time, though.
All right. We're out of here early.
We're in his time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with that, commission members, anything else that I am missing from the new agenda?
I'll make a motion, we pay claims.
All right, we have a motion to pay the claims, which is a fairly important step. Any seconds to that?
Second.
We got a second, a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. That leaves Mr. Robertson's favorite
I'll make a
motion to
motion
make.
adjourn.
He's going to motion to adjourn and a second. And we have a second down here. All those in favor? Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you very much and have a
Resolution
wonderful
to sign?
New Year's.